Hello, I'm Carolyn Aubin, and I'm going to show you how we created a nature trail on our property in Hebron, Connecticut. We own 5 acres of land in the center of town, and when we started over 2 years ago, it was completely overrun with invasive plants, such as multifloral rose, oriental bittersweet, garlic mustard, and winged euonymus, or burning bush. We purchased a tool called a weed wrench, or an extractigator, which came in very handy at helping us remove some of these invasive plants. Also, it helps a lot to have 2 very strong sons that are willing to help. We hire our neighbor with a tractor to help us remove some of the very difficult invasive plants, such as the multifloral rose and some of the bittersweet vines that are really overgrown and wrapped up around some trees. We pile up the uprooted invasive plants for the wildlife. There is a small stream that runs through our property, and we placed a pipe in it for the tractor to access the land. And while we were at it, we also created a small vernal pool for wildlife. At the top of the hill, where the stream comes into our property, there is an old tile pipe that the town put in years ago when creating the road. That tile blew out of the stream in a heavy rain in 2021. My sons were able to move it back and create a stone bridge over the tile as part of our nature trail. Now that most of the invasive plants were removed from our property, the next step in creating our nature trail was to make the trail. Our family moved logs and used them to mark the sides of the trail. We moved stones and made stone steps. We designed the trail to flow naturally through our woodland, wetland, and meadow, following the flow of the trees and ferns and stone walls. We started native plants from seed by broadcasting them into our meadow and by starting them in pots that we grow to plant all around the property. Planting native plants and trees is the best way to bring back wildlife to the property. We also have added a few bird boxes for nesting opportunities for lots of birds. With the help of my forester, Andrea, we identified and labeled many of our tree species along the trail. Remarkably, we discovered we have at least 20 American elm trees on our property, ranging in age from saplings to 80-year-old individuals. These are special because they are threatened and an endangered species. Now that we created a trail, the next step is maintenance. We mow the path through the meadow and wetland as needed, usually every week or every couple of weeks, and we're keeping the sides of the trail trimmed back. We continue to remove invasive plants as they come up on an ongoing basis. Once a year, in late winter, we mow the meadow. We wait for overwintering insects to emerge. We enjoy watching the symphony of native plants take their turns flowering, from bloodroot, violets, pussy willows, and serviceberries that bloom in the early spring, to goldenrods and asters blooming until frost. We get great pleasure in visiting our trail and seeing how much our efforts have improved our property for wildlife. Where invasive multifloral rose and bittersweet once made the woods impenetrable, now native plants have returned and are thriving. The native plants are hosts to so many wonderful native insects who are now returning and making our piece of land their home. The insects and seeds and berries are bringing an abundance of native birds back to our property because they are finding everything they need here. We leave dead trees when we can do so safely, and other nesting opportunities for a variety of bird species. We have had a big increase in nesting birds here and are enjoying watching the fledglings grow up. Also, countless migratory birds stop here on their way through. We even spotted a nighthawk soaring above the trail. Yellow-bellied sapsuckers have frequented our apple and spruce trees, and we often see birds of prey. Any visit to our nature trail now, at any time of year, always gives us a lot of bird activity to watch. Listen carefully, and maybe you'll hear the indigo bunting. One of my goals is to invite people to visit my trail and to educate them in how important it is to bring wildlife back to our properties, no matter how small. I hope to teach them ways they can do the same things we have done on their land.